Hey guys, so today I'm talking about if I only had 30 days to get bookkeeping clients, this is exactly what I would do. So this is basically how to shortcut your success curve from someone that's had to do it themselves, right? Because when I first got started, I was, in the beginning I was doing this full time, right? Because I quit my job because I had seen different Tony Robbins videos and I was like, man, if you can see it, you can believe you can achieve it. Now, I do not recommend that for anybody, right? To quit your job and then start your business. I would start your business while you still have a job, so you don't have as much stress and just financial stress kind of on your shoulders, because it does make it a lot harder to run a business when you're constantly feeling stressed out. It's not impossible by any means. It's just you have to kind of be able to have really strong emotional control in those moments, right? Because if you're talking to a business owner and you're feeling super tense, super nervous, or you don't really know what you're doing, they kind of pick up on that and they don't really know what is attributing to that, so they just kind of write it off that you just don't know what you're doing. Okay, also, if you want some help growing your business, maybe you've been trying to grow, it's just not quite going the way that you wanted or the way that you planned, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of a mentorship program. So, going to this thing. So, if I only have 30 days and I need to make significant income, number one, I'm going after high valued clients. So, I would really avoid low value clients in the beginning stage because the it's like this. So when you're first starting, you're probably only going to have 7 opportunities to get a client. Whether your price is $1 or $1,000,000, you're probably only going to have 7 times that someone's going to say that they're interested in this service. And that's generous. Most people, if they're starting out, if they have no help, they have no mentors, they're just learning marketing for the first time, you're probably only going to have 1 or 2 opportunities, right? So if you're going to have the opportunity, you might as well charge a higher price than a lower price. Now, what you might be thinking too is, it doesn't make any sense. If I charge a lower price, everyone's going to want to work with you. Yeah, but no one knows what your price is until they get on the phone with you, right? Even if you put on, unless you put on your website, but even then in 30 days, you're probably not going to have enough time to build a website. And the people you're talking to probably aren't really going to be searching your website. So technically, they really will come to the call and just don't know. Some people think it's on a website, they're gonna read it, they're gonna watch, they're gonna know it. You'd be so surprised. You can give someone an entire page of research, of notes to research before the call, and they still won't do that. They'll be like, oh, I just didn't have the time to do it. It's well, if you're serious about a service, what else are you gonna be using your time for? That's literally why you have time, is to use it to actually help you get in a better spot. But most people won't, right? So it's no one's going to know. So you might as well charge a higher price point than a lower price point. Next thing, it's also, so some people, you might hear some people saying maybe they're a successful accounting firm or CPA firm and they have a lot of clients that are small. They probably did not start out that way, right? Oftentimes what happens is in the beginning of your business, you need to go after high value clients so that every time you get a client, it's significant and you can actually be able to replace your old corporate job income. Right? But as you start getting past 20, 25, 30K, it pays to have a bunch of small clients for 2 reasons. Number one, it just protects your income a lot more because it takes a lot more clients to lose in order for your income to go down to zero. The second thing is that it actually makes the business easier to sell because of the number one, the concentration risk has been spread out. So if you were to go and sell the business and a new owner comes in, it's very unlikely that all of your clients would actually churn out. But if you only had 3 clients, and one of them goes and it's $3,000 a month, okay, now they've just lost, $36,000 a year on the business they just purchased. Versus if you have a bunch of clients that are $300, you lose 20 of them, that's only $6,000. But you had, what do we say, 300? 300 times 300, yeah, so it's 90,000. You lose 6,000 out of 90,000. So it's it's very secure for the person that's buying the business. Now, most people can actually double or triple the rates they think that they can actually charge, right? It's very interesting to be oftentimes when someone comes and joins our mentorship program, if they've been in business for any amount of time or if they have clients, the first thing I do is I look at their pricing. I'm like, hey man, your pricing is double or is 50% or 60% lower than what it should be. It's just the norm. Most people just don't really know what they could charge and what they should be charging. Now, if you're in that position, in the program, we give you a script as to how to go and approach your clients in order to get them to want to pay more. A good example, so one of our students named Arniel, he came into the program. It took him about 3 days So day number one, we did our onboarding call. And I told him to go and assemble this list of all clients, what they're basically paying, and et cetera, et cetera. He gave me the list. We basically met like 2 days later. On that call, okay, so these guys should be here, these guys should be here, these guys should be here, these guys should be here. This is how we're going to approach them. Give me a game plan. I need some more history on like how long you've been working with them, what is their kind of mindset around money, how do they feel about your service, et cetera, et cetera. Here's our game plan. And we just did that for each one of those clients. So he had 3 clients specifically that were super undercharged. Because he only had like, I believe, like 5 clients at the time. So 2 of them were okay. They weren't perfect, but they were okay. 3 of them were severely underpriced. Like literally, like I think 2 of them he was charging about 30% of what he should be. The other one he was charging like 50% of what he should be. And it's very, very common for most people, right? So basically all we did was just adjust his pricing. Then instantly added $3,000 to $5,000 a month to his income and spanned like 3 days, right? So it's not like it was like magic. It was just like, yeah. Now, if you don't have clients, of course, you're probably not going to be able to do this, but I'm just giving you an example for price, right? And why pricing is so important. Right, because I mean, if he changed 3 clients and he added between 36 to about 5,000 a month, 60,000 per year, just from one tweak. That's also why you should probably work with a mentor earlier rather than later, right? Because it's like, think about how if he had been going in business for a year, that's only $36,000 to $60,000 he lost just by waiting until he got stuck in his business. Don't wait till you're stuck. Get help before you get stuck, so you don't have to get stuck. Next thing, identifying high-paying clients. So, okay, Bryce, I don't need to get high-paying clients. How do I actually go and find them? Number 1, you need to understand the market. Number 2, target high-ticket. 3, research industries. 4, do client financial health. 5, set competitive pricing. So, the main thing is you have to understand which markets are more likely to pay a higher ticket pricing. Okay, so I'm always looking at industries that have high revenue and high contractors as just a natural occurrence. So I'm thinking, let's say, for example, construction. Okay, that's all they do is work with contractors, and their revenue is very high because they're very project based. Same thing with like solar companies, right? They're used to having large sales teams. They're very good at sales. Every time they sell a thing, it's between $10,000 to $100,000 per sale, and they make tens of hundreds of sales every single day. Now, that's converse or opposite of like, let's say like a solopreneur, or maybe like a solopreneur like handyman. Okay, well that person probably doesn't have very much staff. They want to do everything themselves. They want to micromanage every single project because they can't get away with control. They're probably making anywhere between $50,000 to maybe like $200,000 top line. Top line. That's not bottom line. Top line they're making, and they're generally going to be trying to conserve every single dollar, right? Because if you think about it, most businesses operate at like a 30% margin, and that's like high. There's some businesses like construction operates at like a 5% margin, right? So which is also why for construction we go after them because they're higher revenue but they're lower profit margins. So they're used to not having to control and conserve all their money. Versus a handyman where it's like maybe they make $100,000, they are trying to keep every single penny of that $100,000 to just survive, right? Because right now, where we are kind of in the economy and just in the world, like things are a little bit more expensive right now, right? Inflation and just there's both inflation on the money and there's also the inflated prices that people are doing, right? It's just like the price has just gone up, right? So most like these stores can make a little bit more profit. Now, for a lot of people, that's been very, very hard for them, right? So, how you say, it makes sense why, but I'm just not going to try and get them as a client, right? That's like it's like there can be an objective truth about society or just about things, but it doesn't mean I have to go and deal with clients that are in those positions, right? So it's not that they're bad people. It's just if I need to get high ticket clients, I'm going to work with the highest ticket clients. I'm going to avoid people that can't afford to pay me the most, whether it's mentally they can't afford or whether they like physically like budget wise they just can't afford. Right? Now, next thing, I'm also going to be using tools to research how much the company is making. I want to be shooting for at least $500,000 per year in revenue. Okay? Now, the reason why is because generally we're going to be charging. Generally, people are willing to pay 1 to like 5% of whatever their income is. Right? So I'm going to go worst case scenario. So let's say 1% of 500,000 about 5,000 per year. That's about $450 per month. Right? So ideally, I'd be going for companies that are doing between about $1 million to about $3 million from revenue. That'd be a really good sweet spot to kind of hit, right? because if it can only pay 1%, that's between about $1,000 to about $3,000 a month. I'm going to get paid for those clients, right? So and if you don't know what research tools, there are a lot of different research tools. Like you can use Sales Navigator, you can also use Apollo. You can also go and just like get databases, just kind of see like what every company is doing. You could also go and pay someone on Fiverr to basically go and research companies. So let's say you find like a list of people inside the construction space, right? Okay, so you can actually go pay someone to go do some research to go and see like what is the revenue, right? Now I don't really like paying them because I mean there's these tools I can do it. It just really depends. There's tools I can do it like Sales Navigator does it naturally. Sales Navigator, I believe, is about $100 a month right now. So I mean, yeah, it can sound expensive, $100 a month, but it's like if you really put it into perspective, like in order to own like a traditional business, like you had to invest like minimum $50,000 just to do it. That's why I talk about people like used to like the failure rate used to be so high because you just needed so much capital in order to like support your business. Nowadays, like all you really need is like a computer. Like, because your computer can take videos, it can do phone calls, it can use QuickBooks, it can actually control someone else's computer all the way across the world. It can talk to your contractors. Like everything that you need can really be on your computer. So your business really should cost like $1,500, right? But the problem is most of the business owners in the past were a lot more well-rounded than business owners are today. So they were good at like marketing, sales, accounting. And it's not that like inherently we lost those skill sets. It's just most people nowadays, they specialized in like accounting or they specialized someplace versus before when they started the business, usually it would just like be scrappy people that were like salespeople from birth. Right, so they're always like selling something or doing something, or people were always giving them money, right? So it's like they already had those inherent skill sets. So they were much more comfortable taking on risks. They were comfortable taking $50,000 in loans, or they were comfortable taking $250,000 out in the bank, right, or $1 million out to go and build a McDonald's. They were comfortable because they knew that they had the skill sets behind it. Nowadays, since we're good at accounting, but we're not necessarily great at marketing or sales, you know, it's kind of feels a lot scarier, even though it's a lot safer than what it used to be, right? So it's one of those things, but you tend to kind of like learn about that. That's the really cool thing. Now, when it comes to setting competitive pricing, like we just kind of talked about, you set it between like 1% to like 3% is kind of how you can do it. Now, in our program, we give you a pricing calculator tool that gives you a very exact way to price out your services. Just in case like someone ever asks you like why is a price the way it is, you can actually explain it to them, and it just makes logical sense. And that's why like our students like are able to go and get like people to say yes at such a higher percentage than average, is because they just have tools in place to explain the value. And when you explain the value to someone like in a concrete manner, in a very systematic step-by-step way, they oftentimes are like, okay, cool, this makes sense. So next is social media outreach. So just kind of like we just talked about, right? So I am always like, I like LinkedIn just because it's like centralized. I like things that feel centralized. I don't like being on Facebook, then having to go research them there, then having to go message them here, then having to call them there. That's just too spread out, right? So I instead like to have things as consolidated as possible. So I want, if LinkedIn can do my research, and it can do my messaging, and it can be the place that we contact, and it can be the place where I can send them like a lot of different things, that's my centralized hub. So that's why I use it. So it's not that you have to use LinkedIn, it's just LinkedIn's just the easiest way to do it, like because of that research element. Right? Like if there was no research element on LinkedIn, then like Facebook would be just as good because you don't know who you're really talking to. You have to use like context clues to kind of figure that out or even ask them. But since it does have that, that's the tool that we're going to be using. Also, out of all the social media platforms, LinkedIn tends to be the one that has the most consistent rule changes. So Facebook changes its rule all the time. Like people talk about like, you might not have heard, but they talk about like Facebook jail. Like sometimes you can't message people, or sometimes like you can't join groups, or sometimes like you're commenting on posts and all it says like you can't comment anymore, right? So it's a lot more finicky and a lot more fragile. Instagram is very fragile. Just they could have like an automatic algorithm update. Your post gets shown to nobody. They could have it where like I've heard of people getting their profiles just disabled for just random things. Like, yeah, so it's just a lot of different things. Versus like LinkedIn is the rules are very clear cut and they explain the rules to you. And like even if they give you like a limit or like a thing, they tell you, okay, this will be over in 24 hours. This is what caused it. This is how you prevent that from happening again. So it's just much more. It's easy to build your business on something that's very stable like that. That is a secret to success, right? You either want to build on something that you own or something that does not change. So, a good example, let's say you're in the online space. What are some things that we own? Email list is something we own, right? So like even if like an email address gets blacklisted and you can't email anymore from that same one, you just take your existing list, you just move it over to a different email. And now they love you because they like you as a person. You've transcended the platform. Okay, so that's even another complex topic. Transcending a platform. So let's say all of your business contacts are on Facebook. If Facebook kicks you off, you have no access to these people anymore. You've lost access to people. Versus if you have a face of person, then you also have their email, and they're also like watching your LinkedIn. You have them in 3 places. They are connected to your brand. They're not connected to Facebook. So if Facebook was to delete you, you still have them on your email. You still have them on your YouTube. You have transcended social media. If they saw you on the street, they would know you. So it's just about like how many different ways can you communicate with those people. Yeah, so back to the things you own. So you own an email list. You own customers to like if you like let's say you sell books, you own those customers. Let's say another thing you own are people that actually sign up for your accounting business, right? Because you have their phone number. Also phone number list, that's very important as well. It's funny, on the internet you don't really own that much stuff. Internet you're really just renting stuff. That's what it is on the internet. You're really just renting out a lot of space to people that are very they change their minds a lot. What are some things that are very unlikely to change? So email lists, like email has not really changed in the last like 10 years. They've had some changes, but not really that many changes. Next thing is LinkedIn, right? They've had some change in the last like 5 years, but not that many. Other ones that don't change. Direct mail. I forgot. That's the thing you own. You own like a mailing list. Like if you know what their address is, it's not like they're going to change their address. So you can hit them a million different ways, right?